Hey guys, welcome along. I'm actually not long home. I was out at the Poulaphuca waterfall. I was trying to see if there was anything left of it. The Poulaphuca Reservoir in that area kind of got its name from the Poulaphuca waterfall. Poulaphuca meaning demon or ghost pool or hole, depending on the translation. But the whole reservoir got its name from that. And while I was there, I said I might do a quick video about the reservoir. And the more I looked into it's insane the history of the area. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a few different videos in the link below. I suggest you check them out. I'm just going to touch on it roughly. I've been going up to Kildare and Wicklow a while now on Dublin Mountains and amazed by some of the Neolithic temples and structures that there is. But what's really interesting is so if you look at Poulaphuca Reservoir and you look at the Ordnance Survey, there was some surveying carried out before 1937, before they began work on the dam, about what was around the given area. And a couple of things were found, circles, fairy mounds as they're called, dims. Several different things were found. And the dam went ahead regardless. Now I'll come back to that. I'll come back to the Neolithic link. So just before I talk about the dam, there was obviously a beautiful cascading waterfall there. And then Alexander Nemo came along and done the bridge, and it became a huge tourist attraction. The sound of the waterfall for miles after heavy rain was supposed to be amazing, and people used to travel out on horse and carts. And then eventually they extended the line from Terranor or out to Bleston out to Poulaphuca, and it was a huge tourist attraction up from the 1700s up to the early 1900s. But then when the dam began in 1937, there was German engineers had more or less decided they were to work on it. Then of course with the outbreak of the war, it was Irish workers and English workers a bit more knowledge. Like Ireland was only a new state at this stage. The Republic of Ireland, it was only finding its feet and surrounded by war times. So there was poor people that lived in the valley. You had Kings River and the River Liffey that flowed through these valleys. So they were building this dam just up from Poulaphuca waterfall and where the bridge is. And basically these people were rent out of their homes for progress. They needed water for Dublin, and the hydroelectrical was one of the biggest massive undertakings for the state. And unfortunately for these people, for the people that were there at the time, they were given compensation. I don't know if it was a just compensation or not, but there was one man, as he said, they didn't need a sheriff. The water was the sheriff because they were flooded out.
Well, you had to move and you got your compensation and you got out or were flooded out, which one man was. He came out up to his waist in water.
He was up on the roof.
And Johnny Callahan was his name. And they flooded them out. Yeah, it wouldn't happen today, I can assure you that.
Literally, there was one particular man, he was up on his roof, and then he came out, the water was up to his waist, and he came out. So he or someone else had said that the water was the sheriff that ran them off the land. So by 1940, all the local people were off the lands. There had been many farms that had been documented. I think there was 70 homes or something like that, where people were given compensation to live. There was there was all bridges to some. They blew up some of the bridges. I understood them taking the roof off the houses. A lot of the houses would have been thatched roofs, but I couldn't understand why they blew up some of the arches, the bridges, and the houses. I don't know. They were afraid people would have stayed in them. I don't know. There was an old mill there, an old bridge, mill house, and the larger structure. They blew up the larger structure. Apparently, the mill house is still there, and most of the bridge would still be there. Yeah, so basically, them poor people were then out, and the reservoir was then there. But now this was wartime. They couldn't get all the components that they needed to finish the hydroelectric dam, and they had to camouflage parts of it because they were afraid then that it would now become a target. Even though Ireland was and still remains neutral, it could have become a target. And because apparently the Germans and the British both had their eyes on Ireland. So so time went on again, and eventually the area has become a huge amenity. It supplies Dublin with water. It supplies lots of Ireland with electricity, and the local people, there is local people there now that have made business out of be water sports and water clubs and stuff like that. It's been unfortunate. There's been people have lost their lives, and then the people that used to live there, it's been awful bitter for them. The people that were ran out of their homes. There was graveyards as well where they exhumed bodies and moved them elsewhere. Perhaps the concern was it might pollute the water. I'm not sure. So there's an awful lot of history to it, and that's why I'm putting these other videos. Other people have already done the hard work, and I'm going to link them in because I think they're really worth watching. And they'll be in the comments or at the below here, around there somewhere. There's normally a little arrow that points down. If you hit that, you'll see there's texts that will drop down, and the links will be there. I advise you to watch it. It's very interesting. But one thing that's come about from the reservoir coming about, that tapping you here's the old dog walking around again. But what's happened is, which is really interesting, is because of the reservoir forming, it's washed away a lot of the topsoil. And what they've discovered, archaeologists have discovered that 5,000-6,000 years ago, there was Neolithic people living here, and by the looks of it, they were stonecutters, because all this area is kind of granite. Even the Poulaphuca waterfall, where the waterfall cascades through it, was granite. The whole area is kind of granite. And they found these curved stones, and another one was I think it was a rubbing stone it was called. You'll see it in the videos, but it was for grinding. For either doing cereals or whatever. This was all linked to farming. But a lot of them were never used, and they found dozens of them where they realised this was an actual industry where people were here working, creating these things, and these were being shipped to other parts of the country, and they found used ones in other parts of the country, which I find amazing. And then there was flint and axes, not indigenous to the area, found. Like the flint, they reckon, came from Armagh, and so it kind of starts to show that there was trade up and down the country with these people. It was organised. I remember someone recently suggested to me it was slavery. I don't think it was slavery. I don't think Newgrange and things like that. But the only time you see things like the pyramids and stuff, people don't understand. They always think it's slavery. I personally don't think that. I think it was people working together. There was benefits. There was trading. Yeah, and that's why they done it. Like, it was jobs. Different than we understand now, but or it could have been a religious belief that way they helped each other. I'm not sure, but I think it was done by their own will. That's my personal opinion. But there seems to be massive history, and because the soil's being all eroded, it's exposed these like foundations of Neolithic homes, and the stone and stuff that was left behind for whatever reason, like dozens of them, as the man said. So look, I'm going to link that stuff in for you. It's an interesting history. I think this video's probably going to be over 10 minutes long. It's supposed to be a short video. But I suggest you go look at the stuff. It's really interesting. I'm going to go wash up and freshen up after being out exploring around. If you get a chance and if you haven't seen the video on Poulaphuca Waterfall, it's hard pronouncing that at times. I'll try and link that up above if I can. And thanks very much for watching. And just a salute to any family or relatives that were from the surrounding area. I just felt like mentioning it because a lot of people don't seem to know about it, and I think it's a very important part of history, and a lot of people made an effort over the years while this was all happening to record the history of it, so no harm bringing it up again. It doesn't matter if it's a Dublin man doing it, like it's things that happened in Kildare, Wicklow, we're all Irish, so it's shared history. And it's especially going back to Neolithic times, like how much shared history can you get? Anyway, I think I've said too much at this stage. Again, thanks very much for watching. All the best.